This year, we saw fewer highlights than usual, but unfortunately, more layoffs across the industry. It's becoming increasingly clear that the video game industry faces truly difficult challenges in the future. Nevertheless, here come the top 10 best games in 2024. After 17 years, the Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi series continues with Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Featuring over 180 fighters and numerous transformations, battles take place in familiar and destructible locations like Planet Namek. While the game is more chaotic and less tactical than other Dragon Ball titles, it captures the essence of the series with its frantic action. The AI is challenging right from the start, and the episode paths allow for new twists in the Dragon Ball storyline for 8 heroes and villains. The story mode, however, can feel repetitive at times. Players can craft their own dream story in the editor, or fight online, though the input system has faced criticism. On the bright side, Unreal Engine 5 graphics and animations are stunning and would surely have pleased the late Akira Toriyama. The surprise of the year. Palworld combines Pokémon-style creature collection with survival gameplay, crafting, and base building in an innovative way. Players can catch pearls and use them for combat, resource gathering, or base maintenance, offering significant freedom. At least for the player, not the pearls. Multiplayer with friends is an option, but some mechanics, like creature AI and boss fights, feel underdeveloped. Base building automation and task delegation could also use improvement, and the lack of a compelling story beyond fragmented diary entries is a missed opportunity. However, frequent updates from the developers have kept the game alive, though its future is uncertain due to a lawsuit from Nintendo and the Pokémon Company over patent violations. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a worthy successor to Final Fantasy VII Remake. With breathtaking graphics, an optimized combat system, and seamless action RPG integration, the game impresses despite a few shortcomings. Minigames are back, much to the delight of fans. However, the open zones, while visually stunning, feel bloated, and the story is unnecessarily stretched. Stealth sections are also lackluster. Despite these issues, the game successfully modernizes the middle section of the original trilogy, making it a fantastic JRPG experience. This long-anticipated action RPG, inspired by Journey to the West and Chinese mythology, excels in presentation, gameplay, and visuals. Powered by Unreal Engine 5, it showcases breathtaking environments with vivid details and impressive lighting effects. Boss battles are a highlight, featuring unique designs and challenging mechanics. Players enjoy freedom in combat through different stances, abilities, and transformations. However, the story could use more focus beyond diary entries, and the protagonist remains somewhat bland. Occasional technical issues aside, this is a solid action RPG. Nintendo finally fulfilled the fan dream of a Legend of Zelda game starring Princess Zelda. Echoes of Wisdom returns to the top-down gameplay style and delivers a mix of open-world exploration and classic dungeon crawling. The dungeons, while not as iconic as in earlier entries, are solid, and the bosses are well designed. Puzzles often offer multiple solutions, though some can be time-consuming. The story features a few surprising twists, and the difficulty level is higher than expected until players find enough heart pieces. The game falters with frequent frame rate drops and an overly cumbersome item selection menu. The Echoes mechanic starts strong, but becomes repetitive over time due to the poor menu design. Despite these flaws, Zelda's first solo adventure is a hit for both old and new fans. Ubisoft proves they still have it with Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, a Metroidvania set in the Prince of Persia universe. The game shines with precise controls, a connected world full of mysteries, and 20-30 hours of engaging gameplay. The customizable difficulty, excellent music, voice acting, and exciting boss fights are highlights. While the graphics aren't top tier, the game's design and execution secure its place among 2024's best. First released in 2001, Silent Hill 2 is widely regarded as an absolute masterpiece of horror. The 2024 remake faced incredibly high expectations from its player base. With a modern third-person perspective, a revamped health system that eliminates auto-healing, and new alternative endings, it retains the original's strengths, tackling serious taboo topics, featuring terrifying monsters, and maintaining a profoundly dark atmosphere, further enhanced by its excellent sound design. The remake lives up to expectations, though occasional frame rate drops are the only real drawback of this legendary horror experience. The creators of Wolfenstein Machine Games were tasked by Bethesda with reviving the Indiana Jones franchise in the gaming world after decades, and they've succeeded spectacularly. For me, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is one of the best action-adventure games of all time. If we overlook the facial animations, it's also one of the most visually stunning games ever made, resembling a playable movie that draws you in completely. This is thanks not only to its impressive cutscenes and environmental textures, but also to its unique first-person perspective. While I can understand why some players might take issue with this viewpoint, I found it refreshing and well executed. The combat system, which emphasizes physical melee combat, feels innovative, although you can still swing the iconic whip or use firearms. However, the combat is also my biggest critique. There were moments where I couldn't understand why an enemy who'd been hit multiple times with a heavy object was still able to retaliate, or why a precise headshot didn't result in a kill. Coming from Machine Games, the masters of Wolfenstein, this was disappointing. The story, set in 1937 between Raiders of the Lost Ark and the Last Crusade, is thrilling from start to finish, far removed from the typical licensed mediocrity. The humor, Indy's charm, and the light slapstick from the films are all well captured and translated into gameplay. The puzzles are engaging and challenging, while the tombs and temples are masterfully designed and atmospheric. The use of an actual physical map instead of a traditional menu system is innovative, but can leave players feeling a bit lost at times. Still, Indy's latest adventure climbs onto the podium of gaming greatness. This year saw the release of a remake of my favorite game, Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door, for the Nintendo Switch. As expected, the game received a beautiful graphical update, and some of the original's few flaws, such as excessive backtracking, were improved. A new fast travel system now allows players to quickly access most locations in this Mario RPG. The phenomenal story, exceptional by Mario standards, remains captivating even in 2024. The turn-based combat system is as enjoyable as ever, and most of the serious themes from the original were preserved with minimal censorship. However, the soundtrack, while reimagined, didn't always resonate with me. Thankfully, Nintendo added the option to switch to the original soundtrack using a special badge, which is a praiseworthy inclusion. That said, I would have loved to hear a faithful orchestral rendition of the original soundtrack. Another downside is the game's locked 30 FPS, which is solely due to Nintendo's endless delays in releasing the Switch's successor. Despite this, the remake of one of Nintendo's greatest games offers an emotional and profound experience, solidifying itself as the pinnacle of Paper Mario titles. I wholeheartedly recommend diving into this masterpiece. One game towered above all others this year: Astro Bot. Interestingly, this masterpiece succeeds with qualities typically associated with Nintendo. Developed by Team Asobi and released exclusively for PlayStation 5, Astrobot reminds us why we play games in the first place: to have fun and escape our everyday lives into a beautifully crafted world. The levels in this 3D platformer are the most creative I've seen in years, even as a longtime Nintendo fan, and deliver sheer joy throughout. Although Astro utilizes one of 15 abilities in each level, leaving even more potential untapped, every level feels distinct and engaging. The motivation to uncover secrets, rescue bots reminiscent of PlayStation IPs, and tackle particularly challenging levels keeps the experience fresh. The game is filled with love for detail and respect for PlayStation's history, unmatched elsewhere. It also makes exemplary use of the DualSense controller's haptic feedback, surpassing any other PS5 game. Visually colorful and paired with a lively soundtrack, Astrobot stands among the best in its class. What do you think of these top picks? What were your favorite games of the year? Let's discuss in the comments, and here's hoping for an even better gaming year in 2025.